Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of New Business. I'm so excited. I managed to get kind of a local celebrity. I'm going to say this wrong. Always can say this wrong. Forgive me, everyone. Maestra Chavon Wyzdom DVine is my guest this week. She is a shamanic healer, an instructor, a mentor, and founder of the Wyzdom DVine Mystery School. Love that. She practices and teaches several healing modalities beyond shamanism, as well as mediumship. Love that. Shamanic Reiki, and something I should have asked you how to pronounce it. I don't know what it is. Can you say it?
Curanderismo.
Whoa, I need some help with that. So first thing, you're going to have to tell us what that is, because I've never heard of this. Tell me what it is.
Yes, absolutely. Curanderismo is a Mexican, Latin folk medicine type of healing. It's really, really close to shamanism. And it just basically means like the healing, a type of healing. So the cura is like the root word, cure. So it's a healer. When I was growing up, they would call curanderas and curanderos the witches, the bruja. Oh, she's a bruja.
Ooh, she's a bruja. That's the word I do know. That's awesome.
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, it's just something just like shamans, they're connected to the land, they're connected to the old ways, the ancient, and it's a mixture of the healings that came from Europe when the Spaniards came over, the healings of the indigenous that were already there, and even some mixed in with some African teachings that they learned there, and mixed it all together, even a little Christianity thrown in there, and it's a folk healing.
Mm-hmm. I love that. It's one thing. I lived in San Diego, and I don't anymore. I live in Oregon. Mm-hmm. But one of the things I noticed is this very rich Hispanic culture of traditional healing. I would have these clients come in, and they had ideas about what they wanted that were different than the way I would do it. And I'm like, tell me more about that. That's really neat. That was so nice. One of the things that's so nice about living in a place that has a wide variety of people is you get to learn about the different cultures and the indigenous ways of doing things. From your perspective, I really would love to know, because you and I kind of do this differently, although we do both into intuitive things. Tell me a bit about what you're seeing for 2024, because it could be a really bumpy ride for a lot of people, and I want us to have some tools people can use.
Right, yes. So I talk to guides, I talk to my spirit guides and spirit animals, but I also do a lot of predictions one-on-one with clients at the beginning of every year. I do these reports. I kept seeing the same thing for everyone's New Year predictions for their reports. They come and sit with me for their one-on-ones. We talk about what happened last year, how accurate the reading was, and then we do another reading for this year. And I see a lot of people who had a really hard time in 2023. It was like initiations and activations, things are happening, a lot of shadow work, really coming out on top this year, like really being able to begin. It's going to go into 2025, of course, as well. But a lot of people are going to be able to see good things coming in this year, especially if they felt like 2023 was a lot of shadow work, was a lot of like trekking up that hill. Now we're going to be kind of over that hump, and we're going to be kind of soaring. So things coming into fruition, lots of master manifesting. So if you don't watch your words, if you don't get really specific with what you want, you might be falling on the wrong side of that. So you want to make sure you're always just kind of correcting yourself, fixing that inner speech, because you're going to see your manifestations happen like really, really fast.
Well, I love one of the things you just said, though, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, so correct me if I'm wrong, but what I hear you saying is that the people that did the work are going to start to reap the rewards this year. And maybe some of the people that didn't might find it to be a little bit harder. Would you say that's true? Or
yes, I would absolutely say that's true. A kind of like the quarantine and the pandemic and stuff. People that went in their like the universe sent us to our rooms to go think about what you've been doing.
That's a good way of putting it. Yes.
And some people did. Some people sat there and they thought about, what have I been doing? And they really did some of that work. And some of the other ones were like, I'm going to distract. I'm going to find other things. And then as soon as the world goes back to normal, I'm going to try to go back to normal. And they're finding it hard because that normal doesn't exist anymore. So they're having a little bit of a hard time. And now they're going to be faced with these things anyways, but they're kind of lagging behind. That's the same thing, which is why it's a really good year for healers and people who are in the spiritual realm, because we're constantly doing that work, even without a choice. Sometimes our guides are just yanking us. Nope, you're going to go work on this now. So it's really successful time for people, like you said, who have been doing the work.
I love that too, because with my practice, I see the distinction of the people that haven't done the work. And I did gain some weight during COVID too. I'll just be honest with you. But I would say I call it the COVID-19 that people gained, the 19 pounds, the people that went in their room and just ate rather than like you said, Spirit said, go to your room and think about what you've been up to. I love that analogy. That's so great because there was a little bit of Pop-Tarts involved in me in 2020, which had never been a part of my diet before. Right, but I love that you said that, is that people had the choice. They could do this or they could do that. And the healers are the ones that are going to be coming out now, did that work. So I love that. What else do people need to know? That's a great analogy. Thank you for that.
Yeah, absolutely. So the master manifesting one was a really, really big one. Looking at our shadows, accepting yourself, being able to be very intimate. There's also going to be a feeling of wanting to belong somewhere. So we got to be a little bit careful when it comes to that, because that can blur over into the lines of like being possessed by somebody, right? Like somebody or a group, a cult kind of mentality. So you got to make sure that you're not letting something have all of you, but you want to find your tribe. So that sense of belonging is really big for 2024. Finding your tribe, finding those people that vibe with you, no longer just being quiet and deciding that you're just not going to talk about who you are. We call that staying in the broom closet, staying in the ancestral broom closet. You want to come out. You want to be able to be around people that like really accept you for who you are. So we just have to make sure, though, that when we're doing that, we're being authentic to ourselves. We're still taking up space. We're still being an individual.
I love that. That's such a beautiful way of putting it, because I have been seeing a lot more of these cult-like environment. I even did a blog on this one, how to tell if something's a cult. But that, you're right. We are going to be seeing a lot more of that. And that's a good analogy. Would you say that people are moving to find their tribes, or would you say that they're just finding them in different places? How would you say they're finding their tribes?
I think that we're having kind of a global tribe thing happening. It feels like people are trying to find their tribe, but I feel like they're starting to kind of see that you might not be able to find it locally. It's going to be more on the internet, more finding, embracing the fact that your family and your tribe can live all over the place, and you can connect with them like we're connecting right now via Zoom and via online, communities. And the fact that people want to be seen, they want to feel heard. We see that even with I never grew up knowing what was going on in Africa and Palestine and the places that are like showing us right now. This is what's happening here. You need to know. That is because we're using that global community, that global tribe. The internet is what's being able to make that happen.
I love that. And you also teach, I went to your website, I nosed around your website. So you'd be a guest on my show. I want to know what you did. I see that you teach classes, and I can say that is a great way to connect with a new tribe, is when you take online classes. I'm taking a class from a guy in the Netherlands right now, Janusz Stoffers. But it's amazing to me how you can connect globally like this. And I love that you're teaching these classes online, so people are going to be able to see you, like you, and want to be a part of what you do and a part of your little family. So tell us more about the classes you teach, because I thought they were really neat. I was like, this is cool. I want this class.
Thank you. Yes, I teach several classes, ranging from what I first started teaching was energetic boundaries. We wanted to make sure it was really bothering me. I knew Reiki practitioners that were constantly taking the energy in and getting sick. I knew energy workers. I knew people who were just constantly empaths that didn't know how to transmutate that energy. So they were always taking it on. I was like, no. I had I was really blessed to have some really great trainers. I had a really great psychic trainer. And when he taught me how to put up those boundaries, it was life-changing. So I make sure I work that into all of my classes, but it's also one of the classes I teach. I certify in shamanic training, level 1, 2, and 3 advanced. So level 1 is beginners. We call that the personal path, because that's when you're working on yourself. You're really we're healing ourselves first as healers always. So when we learn something, we're our first guinea pigs. So personal path is level 1. Practitioner's path is level 2. That's when we get to go and practice hands-on training with other people, self first still, but then go and practice on a buddy. We have lab hours. We have a lot of fun doing that. And then level 3 is optional. If you want to keep going, is advanced. And that's where we really learn bringing in the stewardship for the earth, really bringing in the ceremony of your everyday living. How can you bring ceremony into your life? And that's also when we get to learn all about shamanic tools, and I receive our shamanic name from our spirit guides. So that's the shamanic training. I have shamanic mediumship, where I mix the two. So I really, again, that was really monumental for me when I learned that I didn't have to be woken up at all hours by spirits and ghosts, someone's Uncle Bob saying, hey, I need you to get a message to my family, when I could say, no, I'm sleeping, I have office hours, and I will see you in shamanic journey.
That's awesome. That is a big deal too, because people don't realize that happens, guys. That yes. I had an appointment for somebody at 10 o'clock, and their uncle is waking me up at, it's a great example. She was always the stupid uncle. Why always the uncle? You got to tell her about that thing with that thing. I'm like, it's not time yet. Yeah. I know you can tell the difference between 3 a.m. and 10 a.m. I know that.
Right. I'll have students joining my class, and there was a grandfather. He was so proud, and he was like, my granddaughter's going to be in your class. And I'm like, which one? Which one is she? And I finally had to put a message out, say, hey, this grandfather belongs to one of you all. He's really, really excited that he's going to get to talk to you in Journey. Let me describe him and what he's pointing at. He's pointing at his farm. He's super proud. And I finally was able to figure out which student that was.
I love that. That's such a great story.
I see you, sir. I'm coming. Give me a second. So I teach shamanic mediumship to help people who have these mediumship abilities learn, again, the boundaries, but also learn how to go in deeper in the shamanic journey, to have one-on-one conversations with them, to do healings, to help them cross over if they need to cross over, things like that. And then I have the program Soul Confidence, and that's for healers who are already starting in their practice. They've already began it, they're running it, but they feel blocks, money wound issues, confidence issues, visibility issues, or they want to start that business. And again, they have these great ideas. They have that burning desire in them. They know they have a purpose. Spirit talks to them. They know they have a mission, but they let those fears get in the way. So we get in there. It's a 12-month mentorship, and we work on that, and we do shamanic journeys, and we do exercises, and we take them along these different 5 milestones, so that they can release that. They can cut all those cords and fly. And it's a shame sometimes you meet people who are really gifted and talented and have beautiful messages, but then they're not brave enough yet to get out of the closet, like I said, or to be seen and to be known. So it's really important to me that I'm helping my tribe, as we are calling it, our community, our online community, to flourish. I want everyone to win. That's what I'm always saying. I want us all to win.
Well, I love that too, because I've seen that we've all seen that in our practices. These amazingly gifted and talented people, shamans, and they'll say, "Well, I got this. I'm pretty sure I just made it up." Like a spirit guide's voice is ever going to be creepy. It's always your voice, guys. It's always your voice, guys.
Right.
Right. So I love what you said. There was something you said earlier I want to go back to. You said that you're seeing a lot more healers coming into their own this year. Tell me about more of that. Do you think there's going to be, what's going to happen? Are they going to start businesses? What's happening with this tribe?
Yes. So a lot more starting businesses, a lot more realizing that this is, so I feel like it's kind of in stages. So let's go back again, once again to pandemic, right? So we were at pandemic, ground zero, right? We were there. The tower event happened. Everything crumbled all around them. So now they're stuck in their room. What do I do? And then they start getting into the things that they always love to do. Now they have time to, right? And some of these things are kitchen witchery, or they took an herbalist class, or they took a shamanic training class, right? They did things because they had the time. Then we go back to work, and a lot of them were like, I got used to being home with my kids. I got used to having this me time. It's not working for me anymore. Some of them have been since 2021, going back to work and stuff, been trying to make it. But this year it's just like, okay, I can't do both. I got to pick one or the other. And they're going to start proving to themselves that this is something that is sustainable. So they're going to go full force in it. And if they haven't started already, then this will be the year that they'll begin. You know what? Let me dabble in it. I know someone that did it. She's been running her business since 2020 now. She's doing good. I'm going to try. I'm going to put a little ad on the internet. I'm going to go to my local, community. Do you guys want card readings? Do you want some Reiki healing? Different things. And they're really going to start to to shine and prove. It's that proof that they're going to see this year, that fruition, that like, oh, I needed $1,000. I just manifested $1,000 by doing something I love, and I helped people on top of that. That's going to make it really, really flourish. And like you said, and coming from the corporate world, these are people that are coming from, they have the business savvy, they have great customer service, they did their due diligence in that world, but now they're going to mix that with this woo-woo side of themselves that they've never showed to anyone.
And for those guys who didn't know, we had a whole conversation that we should have hit the record button before we started. We were talking about the people, these healers coming from the corporate world. I do want to say something that I saw on your YouTube channel. I will put all the links in the description, guys. There was a great video you put out. It had a huge number of hits. I'm so jealous. Crazy number of views, like 12,000 views. 8 signs you are being called to be a shaman. I loved that. Just go to her YouTube channel and watch that. I mean, you know, it's awesome. And also sign up, subscribe, because you need, I don't know how many hours of viewing you need to monetize your channel. You guys who mess with YouTube know what I'm talking about. They change the rules like all the time, and it's kind of, the game's a little rigged, but yet it's still kind of fun in a weird way. It's like gambling. It's, you know, you're not going to win. Well, you can win, but some people win. Tell us more about, you know, 2024. How do we prepare energetically for what's going on? You're seeing it on the energy side as a shaman, I'm sure. What else can we do right now?
Good question. One of the things that's coming up for 2024 that I'm seeing a lot of also is this huge shift. We're going to keep shifting. They're always saying that, right? They've been saying this since 2012. The shift is coming. Okay, there've been little shifts. There've been little shifts all the time. It's not just this one big shift. We keep shifting. And so we're going to, if you're wanting to be more in alignment and to have it not be so hard on you, figure out ways to integrate. One of the things is really, really good. I made sure to get, my birthday's in January, so I started early. I was like, okay, I need to come in here, and what do I do to prepare? So, you know, certain crystals are really good for that. And I went ahead and got this really gorgeous prophecy stone. I sleep with it by my bed. And this is one of the ways that I'm helping myself to integrate with this higher self, so that you don't get, you know, what they call ascension symptoms, where you just don't get the icky stuff that comes.
Yeah, talk about that, because people, I mentioned it, it's like, what do you mean ascension symptoms? Tell us what those ascension symptoms are.
Yeah. So what it basically is like you're here in 3D and you're in their third dimensional self, and the self that you're used to. It's kind of like an ego death, right? Where you have this higher self that you're wanting to merge with. You're becoming that higher self in steps. Every time you level up and come closer and closer to that highest potential self that you're meant to be, it's just like a seasickness, kind of like your emotion, right? The emotion of coming out of this past shell, losing that last shell, losing that last chrysalis to have another upgrade. It can make you have all kinds of things, from physical symptoms to like things going wonky in your day, in your life, to technology messing up, to your car, you know, having issues, like all kinds of different things it just feels like, okay, I'm not in alignment with nature. And so that's what we call these ascension symptoms. You can have ringing in your ears, you can have headaches, you can have stomach aches, you can have, I don't know why I can't get along with my daughter, yada, yada, yada.
I love that. That's a great way of putting it. How do you know if it's ascension and not just, you know, the flu?
Well, I mean, of course, so if it was my student, I would tell my student to take a journey on it, ask your guides, find out. What I always say, we call them the D-knots, right? Dark night of the soul. We call them the D-knots. I think it might be the D-knots.
That's a great way of putting it.
What I always say is, for something like that, is it a dark night of the soul? Is it an ascension? Ask yourself, what was the last thing I asked for? Did I ask to step into something new? Did I get presented with a new opportunity? Did I see an image of myself doing something better? Did I want to release an old shadow? Did something recently happen where I felt a leveling up coming, or that I wanted to feel bigger shoes? Anything like that. If that just recently was something in your energy, and then you start having these symptoms, 10 to 1, that's what's going on, is that you're having an ascension, a leveling up, or a dark night of the soul to release some of that old outer shell that it doesn't serve you, so that you can be light enough, you can be weightless, and you can go up to that next level.
Love that. Okay, so I know I kind of interrupted you when you said, when I was asking you about what people need to know, how they need to prepare. So is there anything that we that you didn't cover on that? Is there more that need to do?
Again, so we call it leaning in, right? You know that term, leaning in. So finding ways where you can lean in. Is it, so I'm always going to say shadows. I got the nickname a few years ago as a shadow shaman because I won't stop talking about it. They're like, she's just going to bring up the shadows. Yes, I know. But it really is a way to fast track your healing. So are there shadows that you do need to go ahead and face? Stop running from them, turn around and face them, and just go ahead and lean in, do the work on those. Being very, very intimate and vulnerable. I've kind of said that was like a theme for 2024 earlier, but that's one of the things that will help to fast track and help you to integrate with this self. Be honest with yourself. If you've tried all of your different techniques to feel better today, to feel in a better mood, but you just feel kind of crummy anyways, feel crummy. Sit with that feeling. Don't run from it. Get in the covers, put on your Netflix boohoo playlist or whatever, and feel those feelings, but then don't stay there, right? Obviously, come back out into the light afterwards, but give some time to these things. So giving time to those, having a lot of acceptance, finding things to do that just feel really like they resonate with your soul. Stop fighting and running from that. If you do not fit in with society, you're not meant to. Yeah. And that's where people create a lot of turmoil and sorrow and pain in their lives, trying to fit in spaces where they're not meant to, or trying to be like other people, and comparisons. Don't drop comparisons in 2024. If you really want to integrate, stop seeing yourself as compared to anyone else. Your story isn't everyone else's story. Be your own individual, carve a new path. So those will really, really help. But also, you know, the regular run-of-the-mill stuff. Be kind to your body. Try not to feed it a whole bunch of junk. Again, picture yourself like you want to be a hot air balloon when you want to ascend into these symptoms, right? So everything that you make yourself heavy with is going to weigh that balloon down, and it's going to make it harder. You want to throw those sacks out of that air balloon. So what are those sacks? Is it McDonald's? Throw it out. Toxic people, throw it out. Whatever it is that's weighing you down, find those things and try to get rid of them in your life.
I want to go back to something you said, because I think it was really profound when you talked about being around people that tribes that you don't fit. I mean, one of my mentors, Michelle Mache, was always talking about how you need to go where you are celebrated, not just tolerated. And so I love that concept, because people are trying to fit in to this big crowd, maybe even trying to change the rules of the crowd. Yes. That they're trying, which is fine, but at the same time, go where everybody thinks you're awesome,
Exactly. At least have breaks from that. So there's this theory that we're light workers, or people who, earth angels, whatever you want to call them, people who vibrate higher, were put along the web, the collective web, in places where we're not close to each other on purpose, because we're meant to vibrate higher. And when you vibrate a web, if you study, insects and stuff like that, spider webs, if you pluck it, it vibrates. That's how they know something is like way on the other end, right? Oh, there's a fly, there's lunch down there at the bottom, because it'll vibrate. So we're all on this web and we vibrate. We create a world where we're helping the whole world vibrate higher. It's great in theory, but if you think that you're just supposed to just stick around in your family that are like hyper opposite of who you are, with these old ideals and oppressive ideals, and you're just going to change them by just sitting there in the middle of the room and taking their abuse. No, that's not the way that's going to happen. So like you said, go, in order for you to vibrate higher and help the world, you're going to have to feel better. You're going to have to bring yourself in that, the Abraham cone of vibration and get back into the good feelings. You can't just feel bad down here and get beat up all the time and expect that's going to change things. That's not how it works. You got to get strong first. Fill your inner cup first. And that tribe helps you to do that.
I had a grandfather that I actually really loved, but he was the most racist person I have ever met in my entire life, to this day, right? He died a few years before his guy became president. I won't get into the particulars of that. Okay. But I will have to admit that I didn't love his energy, but he was kind of fun to be around, because I'd laugh at how ridiculous he was. Really, we really using that word anymore, Grandpa? I think if you can see the humor in the because there was no way I was going to change this Southern man's mind.
Right.
Anything. But if you can see the humor in it, and if you can laugh at it, and because there were things about him I did appreciate a great deal. He had a lot of distrust for the government and a lot of distrust for for news media, which I started to like feel that way too. But I love what you just said. That's a very beautiful way of putting it. So do you see any black swan events, like scary marker event? Scary. I mean, we'll call it scary. Marker events, like unexpected nastiness coming in 2024 that people should kind of look out for?
I really like try to shy away from, like, I call it the fear mongering. I really try to like shy away from the fear mongering, but I will say this. I do see, and I have seen in predictions and what I have been looking forward and seeing, I'm looking along the pathways. Things can go one way or another way. So I always try to like keep myself on the timeline that goes in the way that looks good, and that doesn't always work, but you try really hard. But there's different ways it could go. So I will say, without like naming an event, that the media, news sources, social media, I do see them playing up a lot more, like events happening, really getting back into kind of how it was in 2020, where it was just like fear, 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 fear. I'll tell you what, me and my husband were not having any of the experiences that they were showing on the news constantly during the pandemic. Everything that they said was just not our reality. And it was actually kind of nice because it was empty whenever we wanted to go somewhere. But for the most part, that wasn't what we manifested. So another little tip I would like to share there is to try not to. So again, that's kind of that cult mentality what I'm talking about here. Wanting to belong can lead to, well, we are all against this one thing, or we all choose this side, or we're all collectively afraid. So we're all going to prepare for this tragic event. And we're going to talk to everyone that, we talk about, hey, have you heard about such and such? What are you doing to prepare? What are you doing about it? Oh yeah, me and my family, we've done talking about it. And that's not going to serve you. Again, really, really zeroing in on that master manifester this year. Do not give intention to anything that you don't want to be the case. Again, things are going to make you mad. You'll get on the news. You'll get mad. You'll get sad. You'll get upset. So I'm not saying just to ignore it, but do your best to take that energy, transmutate it with the ability that you have. Use your willpower. Use whatever energy. If you talk to angels, talk to your angels, whatever you do to feel like you're doing something empowering to transmutate that energy, but then don't give it any more attention than it deserves, because what we'll be doing is we'll be throwing logs in that fire. And that I have seen, and I've been trying to like, okay, people, please don't do it this time. The collective, please don't fuel the fire. But people are addicted. They're so addicted to drama and issues. So yes, there will be things happening. Is it real or not real? That's up to you. And how much attention you give it is your choice. That I will say.
I love that. I love the way you're describing that. It's a great analogy, not putting fuel into that fire, because then we become part of the problem. I will say, though, personally, I do believe in having a little earthquake storage of stuff. And I do believe in having, just being smart about it. I know that's not, you're not saying don't do that.
No, yes, be cautious. But I'm talking about like where you're doing it from a place of fear. You're really, really harboring that fear. You're giving more energy to fear than anything else. And you're also spreading that fear by telling everyone else, talking about it, warning. And we think that we're doing good by doing that sometimes. And sometimes we're not. Sometimes we're really just making the problem bigger, because now we're making them focus on it. And now they're fearful. Now they're going to go spread that fear to the next person and the next person and the next person.
That's interesting too, not getting caught up in groups like that. That's a great way of putting it, because you're right about, these cults and people getting pulled into the rabbit hole of conspiracy theories. I love that stuff personally, as somebody who connoisseur of human folly. I just love that. I don't believe them all, but I do enjoy reading them sometimes. I'm like, really? People would believe that? Like, who knows that? And then people clicked on it and they're like, yeah, that's gotta be true. What? That's awesome.
Right. Those rabbit holes. You start off one place and then all of a sudden you're like, what scary part of YouTube have I gotten? And people are like, really, like you said, they're rallying together and they're like, yes, did you see that? There's a sign right there. And I'm like, oh, wow. Okay.
It does. I will say it does drive business a little bit, because I get like people booking, reading sessions. Like, I heard about this thing. Is that really going to happen? No, it's not.
Right.
No, it's
right.
It's
yes.
really not.
Yep. I'll get people to come in and say, I think that someone put a curse on me. And I'm like, probably not. But I'll look. Let me look first. Because I don't want to take anyone's, I don't want to take your money. I don't want to book with you, for something that is just, it's silly. So I'll take a look. But then I'm going to say, well, this person has this shadow and this and this and this. And like, they could use some healing. So I'll tell them what I saw. But yeah, most of the time, there was one time when I did see someone put a curse on someone's family in a past life that was carrying over. And I was like, oh, this person was right. They kind of were cursed. So we just went into a past life and fixed that. But for the most part, most people you're not cursed.
So let's talk about that, because you're describing something that comes up a lot. People like me, you and me, get calls about this. I think I'm cursed. I heard from some psychic somewhere that I was cursed and that she needed me to come in 3 times a week to clear that curse. I'm like, no, please no. Tell us about that. Tell us how you can. Yeah, tell us more about that. I mean, that happens all the time.
Right, it does. Again, I feel like it's its own way of fear mongering, right? And it, like you said, it can drive business. It can drive that person's business. You have people in comment sections, oh, get a hold of me right away. Your ancestors have a message for you. And they'll do that to me. And I'm like, I talk to them every day. If they had a message for me, they would just tell me directly. But thank you. Thank you very much. Go in love and light.
But, I love that. That's so great.
But yeah, for the most part, these are our stuff. Like you said, that voice, that scary voice, the gnawing at you and feeling like, oh, this is bad, something bad's happening. Most of that is us. That's our human selves. That's not the spirit world that's for the most part doing that. Even the stuff that walks around our house sometimes are our own thought forms and negativity that created shadow things that are walking around our house, right? So a lot of that time it's us or it's other people, and we're just sharing all of this negativity, and then you put your energy into it, so you make it real, because again, you are a creator being, so you are a master manifester, so you're creating these things that are going to prove you right. If I start looking for a yellow car, eventually I'm going to see a yellow car. So if I start looking for signs that I'm cursed, eventually stuff is going to start going wrong. That's going to feel like, oh no, I really am cursed. I had heard a story once. This doctor got a baby alligator and dropped it in a bucket and told this man who kept coming to the doctor, I'm cursed, told this man, oh, I pulled this out of your stomach. It was growing in your stomach, and that's what's been wrong with you. And I pulled it. You threw up, and this is what came out, and I pulled it out, and now you're healed. And this was the curse. And he threw the baby alligator away. And the man was so grateful, and he got better finally. But he was making himself sick because he believed he had this curse, until this doctor finally had this idea that he could do something to transmutate that in this man's mind.
I don't know if whether to think that doctor was a criminal or whether they were brilliant. Because I could see that working, but I kind of wish they tried a different approach.
Well, he said he had tried several times to tell this man, I don't see anything. He's running all the the test on this intestine. Nothing was wrong with this man, but this man is like, I'm ailed because it's a curse. That's why you don't see anything. It's because it's a curse. It's because it's a curse. And the doctor finally just decided just to try this out, and it worked. The man got better after that. So for the most part, they are our own beliefs, our own thought forms, our own negativity. For the most part, no, it's not necessarily a curse. A curse only has power if you give it power.
Totally. On that note, I do want to ask about shadow people, because I have people ask me about this all the time, and it's one times out of 10 when I click into it, it's their own stuff. Talk about that. Shadows people in the house, that scares people, and it's usually them.
It is. It's usually them or someone else in the household. It's a lot of negative energy. And it's, let's see, how do you, so we, what were they called? Long time ago, they were called something. I can't remember the word.
Poltergeist? Is that the word you're looking for?
Was it? Not a poltergeist is something that you could create and give life to with your intention. So
somebody's screaming it at their computer right now.
That's right now. I know. This is what it is. This is what it is.
Sorry, guys.
So it's basically like that, but it's basically like an avatar, right? So it's like you're creating a false identity behind what you want it to. You're giving it a personality. You're giving it. This is kind of the same thing as shadow people are. They're like these thought forms and stuff that you have, and now they're transient. You put so much energy into these negative thought forms that now they're walking around your house and they're haunting you, because like what does our shadows do, right? In our minds, if we don't take care of them, they haunt them. Now they're haunting you outside of your mind. Now they're actually in your house and they're walking around and stuff. I always tell people, cleanse your mirrors. Do smoke, cleanse, whatever you Florida water, whatever you use. Make sure you cleanse your doorways and your mirrors, but especially the mirrors, because that's where we go and we like put all of our negative energy, right? We have a lot of like negative thoughts sometimes sitting right in front of the bathroom mirror. Oh, this day I hate my job. Oh, look at my face, I'm getting older. Oh, this, oh, that. And that can sometimes create that yucky stuff that walks around your house.
Yeah, I love you're describing that, because people don't need to be afraid of these things. They just need to do the work. And particularly if there's any drug addicts in the house, that's when I usually see it. And they don't always admit it when they're coming in for a session.
And melancholy teenagers and young people, people like that, you know, like, you know, emotional, dysregulated people, things like that. Anyone that has like mental diagnoses, like, you know, schizophrenia, things like that, all of that creates that stuff. But the more, again, that you face it and you realize where it's coming from and you heal that part, it'll go away and it'll stop.
Absolutely happening. Can go away. Absolutely. This is not a curse. This is not something you're stuck with. You do the work and it goes away. It's amazing. I love that. So I don't want to end it on that not great note. Okay. Let's talk about what tell me some good things that you see in 2024 that people want to look forward to. What cool stuff's going to happen? Good stuff.
So us communicating more, like I said, again, because people are wanting to be seen and they're wanting to find their tribe. Lots of people celebrating. They're actually taking time to celebrate themselves. They're taking time to share their wins. They want to find out who out there is happy for me, because I'm happy for me. And I want to go ahead and share that. So we have lots of opportunities where we get to say, yay, you did it. And please do. Like when you see that, remember that if that's in you're calling that into your energy, that means it's close. It's close for you too. So don't feel bad. You saw someone else get a house and you've been trying to manifest your house. If you see someone say, I just got the house, that's a sign that you're gonna get it next too. So make sure that you cheer for that person and give them all that positive energy, because then you're mirroring that to yourself. Lots of people ditching the negativity, like just deciding, realizing kind of like we were saying earlier, where we were saying the being in spaces that doesn't feel good, but also letting go of projects that don't feel good, and that includes people finally ditching that like toxic cycle, or those people, you've been seeing that one person that comes in and out of that relationship, finally deciding, you know what, I'm more than this. This is better. I'm better than this. This is the year that a lot of people are going to be kind of cutting off stuff like that, including relationships with jobs, right? Because toxic relationships can be with your place of employment. So a lot of people cutting out the toxicity in their life. A lot of people using the internet in a lot of fun ways. AI, a lot of people are already using AI in a lot of fun ways. So some people roll their eyes and get kind of annoyed at it, but there's a lot of fun ways that it's going to be coming out. So we can look for that. That's going to be coming a lot. And like I said, just a lot of people doing the work and realizing, having big breakthroughs of acceptance and self-love. It's going to feel like a self-love movement later on this year, where we're going to be able to see a lot of people. If that's in your timeline, you'll be able to see a lot of your friends, a lot of family posting things or taking time offline, just doing things that are all about like loving on themselves. That's going to be another big theme this year.
So I love a couple of things you said that I absolutely love, and I think are really important, and I'm just going to highlight them, is celebrating when your friends have these victories, because there's nothing that is more magnetic than celebrating somebody else having their victory. When you're looking at somebody else getting that new car that you wanted, and you're like jealous, and you're putting out negative, you're blocking it for yourself.
Exactly.
But when you're putting it, oh my God, I'm so happy for you. Tell me how you did it. Like, that's a very powerful energy.
Absolutely.
I love that. I love the self-love thing too. And I feel like, tell me your opinion on this. I might be wrong. Tell me your opinion. I feel like a lot of that come from the Barbie movie. I think a lot of people saw that.
They did. And it's kind of like some things that you see, it's like, okay, what came first, right? The chicken or the egg? Like, was that movie a sign of the things that were going to be coming anyway? Or did that movie help to catapult that? I think both. The fact that movie even was put on the screen was a sign that this was a wave that was coming. And then it even furthered that wave, because people, you're right, they went and they saw it and they were like, this is amazing. I know I did. I was like, this is freaking amazing. My husband loved it. I loved it. Yeah. I thought it was really, really good. And I think that, like I said, we're going to be seeing a lot more of celebrating other people's diversities and other people's differences, things like that, being able to celebrate that. Again, if you're in that timeline, some people are going to be stuck in their old ways, but you're going to find that this year you kind of just naturally feel distance from that. It's going to just be a natural process where things are going to kind of fade away for you, and you're going to be like, I haven't heard from that one friend, Negative Nancy, in the last couple of months. And it's going to be like just kind of a natural process where if you're in that timeline where things are going good, that kind of old stuff is going to just fade away from you.
Yeah, because there's not as much resonance there anymore. There's not as much in common. I love that. So what I'm hearing you say too with this is if you want a lot of money, start hanging out with people who have a lot of money and have got that energy around them and their mindset of, hey, absolutely, you want this, you can have it. Yeah, it's right. This for you. Instead of the mindset of, oh, it's really hard, it's expensive to buy a house right now.
Right.
It is. But like maybe find a better time maybe there's better opportunity, but there is always a deal somewhere for somebody when the energy is right.
Right. And when you do that and you just think of the possibilities, you don't let the negative Nancy's get to you, you will give the universe the chance to give it to you in some other way. Like you would never be able to even know how something could come to you if you're just like so rigid and so stuck. But be open, celebrate other people's wins, because then it's like letting you know it's possible. Then the universe surprises you with grace and ease and harm to none. We don't want any great grannies passing away or anything like that, leaving an inheritance. But in positive ways, bringing that that fortune and prosperity into your life, just by being open to it.
Love it. Well, I would love to talk to you all day, and I would love to have you back if you would grace us with your presence. That would be so sweet. But before we go, I definitely want to make sure I give you a chance to have the last word. Is there anything that I didn't think to ask that you really want people to know?
Oh, geez. Yeah, I just want people to one more time to say again, if you feel like you have a gift, if you feel like you have a purpose, if you feel like people are always telling you, oh my goodness, your food is so healing. Oh, your hands are so healing. Oh, your presence is so healing. And you've been kind of teeter-tottering about, should I do this? Should I step in? Does this mean I'm a healer? Do I have a purpose to do this? Yes. The answer is yes. If that little tiny voice is in you somewhere saying, I'm meant to do something to help people. I'm meant to do this. And can I do that? And also make a living off of it. A long time ago, all of the healers, they had their houses built for them. They would bring them blankets for the winter. They would bring them logs for their fire. They were taken care of. This day and age, that's with money. And so don't look at it in such a negative way. So that's something I really, really want people to know is don't look at money as a negative thing. Look at the villages taking care of the healer like they used to back in the ancient times, and allow that receiving to happen in your life, because you deserve it. You're meant to. That's it.
I love that. And if I can have a little pitch, I did write a book on this subject that is called The High Income Healer. I'm just going to throw that out there.
I've been starting it, and it's amazing.
I'm so glad you like it. You're the one who bought the book. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
It's actually selling pretty well, I will admit. But I wrote this book because I wanted people in that same position to have a kind of a roadmap and to know that it is possible. And people like you, teaching classes, showing people how to do it, and putting that energy out there and putting that example out there and doing great work on YouTube are a big part of that. I love what you said about the AI too, because you've got some amazing thumbnails. I assume those are AI?
No, I do all of it. Yeah, I'm just barely learning how to use only my picture that I just put up for 2024. Before that, my little cartoon, I drew it myself. All my thumbnails, I did myself on Canva. I'm like the Canva. I tell people all the time, I'm the Canva.
Okay, we'll have to talk.
I love Canva, but my little thumbnail actual icon is an it's cartoon. It's AI. It's an AI cartoon. I love her. I think she's amazing looking. I'm like, look at her. That's me. All my fierceness.
Well, see, that brings up a point here, because here's the thing. I'm thinking I could just give her some money and she could show me how to do that. But there's a lot of people listening to this right now who have an idea and a skill like that. Oh, I know how to make this, or I know how to do that. I'm an expert on this thing. I figured out something, and are not putting it out there for people like me to go, yeah, I don't know how to do this thing. I mean, I just give some money and show me how to do it.
Exactly.
I love that.
Yeah, my husband is really good at this really cool thing he does. You can tell him you're going to go visit anywhere. He can find you discounts to shows. He can get you a hotel. He can tell you where to go, this and that, what's popular. If you bring a canned good to this thing, you'll get a discount and you can get into a show. Like, he'll find all that stuff. And I'm like, you don't understand how much money you can make off of that.
Right?
People that don't want to do all that work want to pay money to someone that can do the work for us. So yes, whatever your talents are, put them out there so people can find you, because you think, well, no, if I do it so easy, somebody else can do it that easy. They don't know how, or they don't want to. They don't mind paying someone to do that for them. So yeah, that's a really good point.
Why does he do? I mean, because seriously, it's fun. I'm sure it's fun for him. Like, it's fun for him to like, oh my God, if I just give a can of this over there, I get $50 discount.
Right.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that. Okay, so how can people find you? First of all, I will put all of your links in the description. So whatever she says right now, if you don't write it down, it's in the description.
Right.
Anyway, right. Can you say it? Tell us where.
Yes, absolutely. You can find me at my website, wyzdomdvine.com. It is spelled funny, so it's WYZDOM, and then divine is DVINE. .com. So wyzdomdvine.com is my website. I am on Facebook as Chavon Wyzdom DVine. I'm on Instagram as Wyzdom_DVine. So pretty much anywhere. She'll put my link tree. You can find all of those links in my link tree below. But yeah, you can reach out. I love hearing from people. You can also see me on my YouTube channel, also called Wyzdom DVine.
Yeah, that link is your YouTube channel is amazing. So we're definitely going to put a link in that special. So thanks again, guys. I hope this was helpful for you. I really appreciate the guest. Thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate that.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
And if you have any things you guys, ideas you want to know about, things you want to know about for future episodes, go ahead and put that in the comment section. Also, if you wouldn't mind hitting that subscribe button. Both of us are in a position where if we could get over a certain number of YouTube subscribers, we can get a little money out of these videos. That would really be nice. Thank you so much.
Completely free to help.
Free to help. Wouldn't you? I mean, if you could just click something and help someone out, wouldn't you do that? So thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. And I hope you enjoyed it. And I'll see you next time.